What is up, everyone? We've got ourselves another another little gem today, and that is to suffer fools gladly. I'm going to read a little excerpt here, and this is actually taken from Proverbs 1:7. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Now, here's the definition of a fool. The three Hebrew words used to define the word fool in Proverbs is one, kesio, which refers to a hard-headed person who thinks he or she needs no advice. Two, a will. This word has a root meaning of growing thick of fluids, which refers to a thick-headed person who refuses to listen to counsel. And three, nabal. This refers to an empty-headed person who demonstrates his or her lack of wisdom through a foolish lifestyle. So, the fool is an empty-headed, thick-headed, hard-headed person who gets a failing grade when it comes to the school of wisdom. They may be intellectually brilliant, financially successful, and even socially admired, but they're morally and spiritually bankrupt. Solomon warns, fools die for lack of wisdom. Just as a body, and that's Proverbs 10:21, just as a body will die from lack of oxygen, a man or woman will ultimately and eternally die from a lack of wisdom. Then Solomon bottom lines it. Go from the presence of a foolish man when you do not perceive him in him the lips of knowledge. Proverbs 14:7. The message is clear. Only a fool hangs around with fools. So, when you're forming a friendship, here are some questions to which you need answers. Does the other person bring out the best or worst in you? Do they have a positive or a negative attitude? What other kinds of friends do they keep? Are they involved in things that violate your values? Do they exercise restraint and control their temper? Do they draw you closer to God or drive you further from Him? Okay, and now I'm going to play a little bit of this interview with Chris Williamson from the podcast Modern Wisdom, interviewing Robert Greene, talking about this excerpt in his book, From the Laws of Human Nature.
Fools gladly. Detach yourself emotionally from fools, and while you're inwardly laughing at their foolishness, indulge them in one of their more harmless ideas. This one I thought was quite interesting.
Well, it's one that I'm not so good at myself, and I've worked at it over the years because I've hired people who are quite honestly very incompetent, who end up, I violated my own law here about character, and I admit it, and they're incompetent, they're lazy, and they're foolish, and man, it gets under my skin, and well, man, I want to beat the shit out of them. Man, it's hard for me to control my emotions. But I try very hard. And part of the strategy that I talk about in Suffer Fools Gladly is to take a step back and realize you are probably a fool yourself, right? You, Chris Williamson, have a foolish side to himself. You play the fool sometimes, even though you don't want to play the fool. Me, Robert, you sometimes can be very foolish and very stupid, even though you wrote the 48 Laws of Power. You often violate the 48 Laws of Power. There's a side of you that is quite foolish and quite emotional and quite reactive, despite how great you think you are. And when you have that and you're dealing with someone that's getting under your skin, who's got really bad ideas, who isn't working hard enough, although it's hard for me when people don't work hard enough, because I can excuse bad ideas and other things, but if you're not working hard enough, that's really hard for me. But anyway,
feels very much within someone's control, right?
Exactly. But beyond that, if it's people, they're just like not very bright and they're kind of slightly incompetent, have a little bit of empathy. Maybe you don't want to work with them. Maybe you're trying to find a way not to be involved in their life in a way that's going to have terrible consequences for you. But maybe have some empathy by focusing on the fact that you're not as great and smart and wise together as you think you are, that we all have a foolish side to ourselves. So that's how I've kind of been able to kind of overcome the fact that I don't suffer fools gladly.
I think it stops us from feeling so caught up in the natural vicissitudes of other people trying to just go about their days. There's all of those people that you hate follow online, the only reason that you follow them is because their life is a slow motion car crash. And we've all got those. It's this odd catharsis that we have by knowing that someone else's life is consistently shit. You think, yes, mess up again, go on. And I don't know, I feel like if we were able to detach and kind of laugh more, because it's all well and good having it with that one or two people that you follow online, but when it's someone that you're a little bit more invested in, that equanimity is completely out of the window. And you go, okay, let's try and take some of that mindfulness, let's try and bring that over into someone else. One thing that I had in my mind, I once read a story, and I don't know if this is true, about when you wrote the 48 Laws of Power, did you purposefully make it slightly less applied or applicable to people being able to deploy them? Because,
or was to open people from that kind of Schlemiel perspective, if you will, from that outsider perspective.
So they're talking about now his ideas behind the 48 Laws of Power. But, this is a very valuable exercise in self-control. This is a very valuable exercise in controlling our emotions, not engaging in emotional thinking. Because when we are around foolish people, when we are around people that are clearly self-destructive, clearly destructive to themselves, to others around them, and clearly engaging, making the wrong choices, and it's very obvious, and then you try to give them advice, and obviously these types of people, like we mentioned earlier, they're thick-headed, they're irritable, they don't want advice, they think they don't need advice, they refuse to listen to advice and to listen to counsel, and they demonstrate their lack of wisdom with their actions, with their foolish lifestyle, obviously, especially if this person is somebody that we have to engage with on a regular day-to-day basis. It's somebody that is close to us, whether by choice or by just the virtue of the relationship with this person. It could be a family member or whatever. Obviously, this is easier said than done, right? And this is where Stoic philosophy, this is where that nervous system regulation comes in, and that ability to look at this person, feel a little bit bad for this person. This person is destructive, and they're as much as destructive as they may be to you, there is no one that they are more destructive towards than themselves. And that is the unfortunate thing about this too, is that they're not willing to listen, they're not willing to take advice, they're not willing to take heed to your warnings, because more than likely, if you are watching this channel, you're probably giving them advice that's coming from a good place. You want to see them do better, you want to see them improve, you want to see them make better choices, but they're not willing to listen. And there's that saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And it does catch up to people. It does catch up to people. I have seen it in my own life. I could probably do an entire video on this from past experiences that I've had with friends of mine, and really go in and dive in and do a deep dive on this topic. But the lesson here being that, they say that success is the ability to go from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. Well, when you're dealing with these foolish people, that can sometimes feel, especially when you're the type of person that is on that journey of improving yourself. You want to be able to fix the people around you. You want to be able to bring out the best in the people around you. You want to be able to help them rise to the occasion. You want to see the best in people, right? But the thing is that once they have shown you, you might give them a couple chances, but once they have shown you like 2 times, 3 times, and it depends on the situation, it depends on what it is. So there's certain situations where they do one thing, and it could be that thing that just now that you can't deal with this person anymore, right? But they will die from their lack of wisdom, as it says in the Bible. Go from the presence of a foolish man when you do not perceive in him the lips of knowledge. And and again, the friends that they keep. If you are dealing with somebody and they're hanging out with losers all the time, they're doing things that violate your value, they don't exercise restraint or control over their temper, and every time you engage with this person, you are feeling they're making your life miserable from engaging with them, because they're causing chaos and destruction everywhere that they go. Well, you know you are dealing with a foolish person. And honestly, those people will fall out of your life. They will fall out of the picture. That's how it works when you have standards in your life. That's how it works when you are on this journey, because you value yourself, and you're not gonna allow those people into your life, because they are going to wreak havoc in your life. Doesn't matter how elevated you are, how amazing of a person that you might be, how spiritually conscious you are, or enlightened, or any of these types of terms. Allowing and being around that energy is going to bring your energy down. It's going to have a negative impact on your life. You're not going to be able to get things done. You're not going to be able to focus. You're not going to be able to, and a lot of the times these people, they're involved in completely, like I said, destructive habits. Bringing in trash from the outside. Let the trash take itself out. Okay. With that being said, much love as always. Allow this to be some inspiration to just smile in the face of those foolish people. Just take it with humor. Find the humor in it. Find the humor in the emotional ups and downs that these people engage in, the drama, the chaos that they seem to love and thrive in. They thrive in chaos, right? You probably thrive in calm, in peace, in harmony, in joy. And you like to create, and you like to surround yourself with other people that alchemize on that same wavelength. Just find the humor in it. Don't be mad at them. Don't be upset with them. They can't help it. Maybe they can't help it. Maybe they are unhelpable, uncoachable, untrainable. You can't help these people, right? If they're not willing to help themselves. And so with that being said, much love as always. Hit me with a like, hit me with a comment, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.